Good morning. Today we're going to start with how to get into GarageBand and how to know how to have it set up. First, you have to search for the app. Now, if you didn't download it, I suggest you stop this video and you go back and look at, in the Other Resources tab, how to download GarageBand and make sure that you have that up and running on your device. When it is up and running, you can either click right on the icon, or if you can't see it right away, you can do a search by finding a spot where there are no apps, swiping down, and then typing in Garage, G-A-R-A, and as you can see, all the other apps have gone away. I have now GarageBand here. One little note, when you open it up, it could be any type of screen that you're looking at. The very first time you open it up, it is usually an orangish screen that asks you to continue, welcome to GarageBand, and all these other different resources that you can use. If you want to look through that, you most certainly may. Otherwise, most of what my videos are going to be is exploring how to do them in a very specific way. So feel free to hit continue until it takes you to a screen like this. Most of you will see something like this. Other times you might see something like this. Suffice to say, the way that GarageBand works is it will open up to the last screen that was active with whoever used it last. Now, when we were using shared devices, that means whoever's previous work was on there. For you, it's going to be whatever you last had on before you had to go and do something else with your iPad. So what I always recommend is to make sure the autosave feature is working in a way that you can actually find what you need to use. I want you to go to the back button in the upper left-hand corner. It's a blue button, as you can see, way up in the upper left-hand corner that says back. I'm going to select that. And I'm going to go back one more time then. And as you can see here, I have a recorded line. It shows me a specific version of my sounds that I've been creating in this specific one. But I want you to go back again to that little paper looking thing in the upper left hand corner. This is the main menu for GarageBand. Now, as you can see, I have a lot of files that I've been creating over the years that are on my device. For you, you're probably only going to have the create song, or at the very bottom you see how it says browse in recents. It may look something like this. You may not even have the create new one. It may just be a blank line that looks something like this. Well, I want you to go ahead and, if you haven't already, click the word browse on the very bottom, not the one that has a clock, but the one that looks like a folder. And we're going to start right away by talking and discussing what these different files and sounds are like. So we're going to go to the create song. Now in GarageBand, anytime you see a plus, it means to add. So in the center of my screen right here, it says create song, a big white box. You'll also notice that there's another plus in the upper right hand corner right next to select. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the create song plus. It's going to take me to the same place. Now, it brings me to instrument platforms. That's what I call each of these. This is the drum instrument platform. This is the audio recorder with the microphone instrument platform. This is the strings, and so on, to bass and guitar. All these different platforms allow me to use specific sounds. We're not going to use this setup first. Each of these are tracks. Today, we are going to focus on live loops. If you look at the very top of the screen, do you see how tracks is highlighted and then live loops is darkened? I want you to tap live loops, and it's going to completely change your screen. Now, with tracks from before, you can create a song by piecing together different sounds that you create each instrument at a time. Live loops is more for the beginner, for you guys. And so what I want you to do is, I'm going to start with live loops. I'm going to pick one of these different sound platforms, and I'm going to go from there. Let me explain what you're seeing first. In the upper left-hand corner, you see the one that says new. We're going to focus on that one a little later on. That's where you create all the different sound loops. That's for a little bit more advanced settings. Sound library, we're also going to ignore that because that's anything that you have recorded on your iPad or your device. And if you use that, you may not be able to manipulate it and compose or arrange around it as much. However, we're going to use arrangements of songs and different recordings that were created for the factory version of this device. Now, as you know here, you can look at any of these different types of sounds. Now, I might have a few extra ones here that you don't have. That's okay. Notice I could go with an EDM sound. I could do a hip-hop sound, a dubstep, R&B, house, chill, rock, electro-funk, even a beat masher sound that I want to start and analyze. There's also some other ones like traditional and Chinese modern. So there's a lot of different options here. Today, and for my examples, I'm going to use dubstep, but I want you to explore some of these other platforms as well when we get into it. So I'll tell you to go back to the platform screen, that's this one, and that'll help you get there. So I'm going to tap on the dubstep. Sometimes it takes a few moments to load, but when you do it, you're going to see a large number of just boxes and circles on the inside when it fully comes up. Mine's taking a little bit longer because I'm recording at the same time. Now the whole idea behind loops is there's a recorded sound for each instrument, and then you get to arrange and put together the different sounds that you like. As you see along the far left side, it shows you which instrument was created, and by touching on those different instruments, I can slide up and down to see how many instruments are in this specific platform. Along the top, there are a number of different functions that we will be discussing at great length. Do you see the white thing that looks like a piece of paper? That would bring you back to the platform page, and then eventually back to the main screen. We'll deal with that later. The other boxes up here, the big box with the two little ones next to it at the top of the screen, that one is for adding a new instrument sound. I'll show you now. If you get into this, you can go back and add a different platform, but we want to stay in dubstep. The one right next to it, the microphone, is going to allow you to create different sounds and recordings to add to it. What I want to focus on now are all these big circles that you see in here in multiple colors. Now these are called loops. The way that they work is they loop around, so the beginning, when you get to the end of the sound, it starts over automatically without any pauses, without any sounds. Let me try one right here for you to hear. Alright, that's one of them. I'm going to show you another one now. And it doesn't stop. I just kept tapping until it stopped. I can also hit the back arrow button at the very top next to the play button, and that'll clear it out too. Now, I'm going to play another one for you that's maybe a little bit easier to hear. Now notice to stop that, I just hit the stop button at the top. You'll notice that the green button is flashing. That's the play button. So if I hit that, it'll resume. For now, I'm going to stop it. And to reset it, I'm going to hit that little back arrow button, the backwards arrow with the line, to reset it so it stops blinking. Now, did you notice how that was spinning around like a clock? That analog clock cycle shows you how the loop is developing. Now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to explore a couple of different things. You can explore individual loops and how they mix together like this. And you can start piecing together your own loop sounds that you like one-on-one. You can do that, but it's not the most efficient way that this app works. There's one more thing I want you to see. Along the very bottom, there's a 1 with an arrow pointing up, a 2, a 3, 4, and I can slide on over all the way to 11 and 12. Whoops. As you can see, I already activated this. The cool thing is when you push one of those arrows, it activates all the loops above it. When you activate them one at a time, they start at different time frames, and you're not allowed to really develop a set. What I want you to do is I want you to explore the different loop sets that you have as well. So for instance, here's number 4. Did you notice how that developed and then it started over again at the 12 o'clock position with the highlight pointing straight up? That is a complete loop. Now what you want to do is you want to explore these different loop sounds and find 3 of them that you like. Individual loops like this. And loop sets like this. Happy hunting!